the shakers and movers in the community, and a founding member of the Meals on Wheels of Syracuse back in probably before 1959, but on May 20th, 1959, it was Meals on Wheels' birthday, the start of the service, and we're 60 years later here celebrating that time. And what was it like even before the start of Meals on Wheels, and talk about those early days?
First of all, I can't believe it's 60 years ago. It feels like just a few years ago when we first started talking about this. I think the idea actually started in a conversation between the three founding members, and that was Carolyn Burke, who at the time was the head of the League of Women Voters and somewhat active politically in the community. Roz Bilford, who's always worked in the field of aging and was our first director of the Office on Aging, and myself. I had been involved with Loretto and knew a little bit about some of the aging issues. And the three of us were together and began talking about all of those people who were beginning to say, I want to end my last days at home if I possibly can. I want to live at home as long as possible. And the biggest need was food that would be healthy food for them. Couldn't market. People were having a difficult time getting groceries in the house or cooking. And we had heard about Meals on Wheels in London. I've done a little research, Mason, as I've told you, and discovered that everybody is claiming that they were the first Meals on Wheels in the world. But London actually was in the late 30s and early 40s. In London, they were literally helping neighbors. Mm-hmm. And they were preparing food and delivering them in baby carriages or little carts or whatever, wrapping them in burlap or baby blankets to keep them warm. And it just seems to me, and I want to believe this, that London was the first place that began meals. I had the opportunity to go to London with my husband, who was there on business, and arranged to go out and deliver meals. Mm. It was a wonderful experience because I had no idea when you talk abstract-wise about Meals on Wheels and what it really means and how it works, and came back with lots of ideas.
I just have to ask, did you use a baby carriage?
No, actually, I went out with someone in her car. Okay. This was in the early 50s, and it was after World War II, and London had been so hurt by the bombings and the Blitz that there were no places people could get groceries, and it wasn't, Meals on Wheels was not age-related, it was really more need-related. It was shortly after that visit to London that we had our first 8 clients. 8 clients, and believe it or not, they were family members, neighbors. We had to beg those 8 individuals to at least try the Meals on Wheels for 1 week. Well, at the end of the week, we had all positive responses. It was great. And so it grew and grew and grew.
We were looking at the history book here, and that was the 35 years ago. Well, I'm sorry, the first 35 years. So we've got another 25 since then. In fact, there's a picture of me in there, but don't share that with you.
Well, there you were.
Folks, but back then I was at Meals on Wheels. So, I'm still here. But on those first days, it just took 6 months to grow to 50 people. And ever since, it's been growing.
It's vital to keep people at home. Having been involved with one of the finest long-term care systems, probably in the United States, the Loretto system is fantastic. It's through Loretto that I learned, let's not encourage people to come into long-term care, let's try to keep them home first. Then when they need long-term care, to provide it and provide the best we possibly can. So keeping people at home, and I'm in my 90s days at this point. I'm almost 94. And I don't want to leave my home. So, Mason, you may be getting a call from me one of these days saying, you know, tables have turned and now someone needs to deliver a meal to me.
And we will be there
So,
for you.
Thank you. I'm looking, I know you will be, so, you know, expect that phone call one of these days.
Okay.
Hopefully not right away.
I've mentioned this before. My mom's soon to be 92, and she had an accident some time ago, about a year ago, and had to use a walker. And one of the first things I arranged was Meals on Wheels for her.
Good.
So she lives in the Bronx and is still getting meals now.
Right. I did notice in my research that after we sponsored it, many church groups throughout the country and throughout other countries as well sponsored Meals on Wheels program. And that's a natural, I think, for the spiritual community to do good, which is what Meals on Wheels does. It does good. So I'm very excited about our program. The city and the county were very helpful and supportive to us, both the mayor and the county executive. So we really had a lot of support.
Right.
The medical
Syracuse
community.
Housing.
Syracuse Housing.
And
We
we're
wouldn't
still
have been
there.
able to cook. James Geddes?
Right. Well, we're now in the almost Alver Towers.
Yeah,
I know we
We
started
started
at
at
James
James
Geddes.
Geddes.
It grew so quickly that we had to move to a new location. But Syracuse Housing has been really our landlord
For all
for
these
years.
Yeah,
For
and
all these years.
that's a big donation from the Syracuse Housing
It is
Authority.
a
and the
huge
city.
donation.
We had a little bit of difficulty at the beginning, and so it was the three of us who were delivering at the very beginning, because the concept was such a new concept. People were afraid to ring the doorbell on a stranger's door, so we had to really run some volunteer training programs so people would feel confident that it was okay to ring someone's doorbell. It was okay to bring something to them. And that would only take about an hour and a half to do their volunteer work, and that some people might be able to do it during their lunch hour.
The need for volunteers continues, so it hasn't changed. Back then, you had less routes, but you were just starting.
Right.
As we grow, now we have 33 routes.
Whoa. How many volunteers a day?
We need at least 33 drivers and at least 10 to 15 food service volunteers. So 40 to 45, 50 volunteers a day. So that's still a big challenge.
I would
we're
say-
always looking for new volunteers.
Because as the elderly population grows, and it's the fastest growing segment of our population, there's going to be more and more need for Meals on Wheels, and obviously more need for volunteers.
So we'll be signing off. It's been a pleasure
Thank you.
and I'm so glad that you could look
Glad I
back
lived
with me
long
and
enough.
well, even beyond that, that you can look back and with me and 60 years later. And as I said, you're a pioneer. There's thousands of Meals on Wheels, but it had to start somewhere, and people like you were there to be creative and come up with this fantastic concept.
We'll
So
still
we all appreciate it.
Thank you very much, but we'll still think of Syracuse as #2 in the country.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Chuckie Holstein.
Great.
Pleasure
Wonderful.
to talk to you.
Wonderful.